everybody. It's week 17 here at the Victory Garden. So we got a little bit more rain in the last week and everything is growing really nicely. We've got our flowers blooming for our pollinators. So we're gonna go in there, take a look at what we've got ready to harvest, and then talk about what we can do with it.
Let's take a look at our broccoli. We had harvested a really big head earlier this year, and just like the cabbage, the broccoli will send out little shoots, and you can eat those as well. So here, this plant has already put on a second head that's really a nice size and good for harvesting. So you can just leave your broccoli plants in the ground and just keep harvesting the side shoots. We also just left one to flower. We told you about how once, if you just leave it without harvesting it, it'll flower, and that's what this one's doing here. And as Sal had mentioned earlier, this is a really, really nice pollinator plant. So the bees and other pollinators really like the flowers. So here we are at our beets and carrots. We're actually going to go ahead and pull them all now. And we will be talking a little bit about how to use your beets. So we're just going to pull up the whole row. So while I was pulling the beets, a few of them, the tops just pulled off instead of the whole carrot coming out of the ground. If that starts happening to you, one of the things you could do is just wiggle the carrot a little bit. That might loosen it up. You can also use a soil fork. Just stay a couple inches away from the carrot and move the soil fork so that you can loosen the soil up a little bit, and that'll help the carrots pop out of the ground. Once we have the whole bed empty, the carrots and beets all pulled out, I'm going to go ahead and hoe this and plant some spinach. There's still time to plant a few things, and spinach is one of those things that'll go into the fall. And yeah.
So just wanted to point out one of the kind of exotic plants that we planted in our raised bed. This is some Mexican sour gherkin is the variety name, and it's just this like really cool heirloom seed. It's a tiny cucumber and it's a little bit sour, and it just looks so cool, the plant itself, and then also is just an amazing like addition to a salad. So this is what they look like when they're full-sized. There's a couple different varieties that are similar to this, but they're just a really small, just baby cucumber, and just really fun to grow. So here we are with our nice harvest of carrots and beets, and we're going to be talking about what to do when you harvest your whole row of carrots or beets. Fortunately, these are both really good storage crops, so if you just cut off the tops and then keep the roots separate, they're going to store for a really long time. You can put the roots in a container or a plastic bag and just seal them, and they're going to stay good for, potentially months in the crisper drawer of your refrigerator. And then the leaves aren't going to last quite as long. You can definitely eat them. You can add the beet leaves to a salad, or just fry them up, or just toss them with a pasta or something. The carrot leaves are a little bit more flavorful, so you might just add a little bit to like a salad or something, just to have a little bit of that fresh kind of carroty flavor. As far as cooking with them, carrots are a pretty easy one because you can eat them. They're really good just to eat fresh and raw, straight out of the garden. Just give them a little rinse, or add them to pretty much any other dish. Just add that little bit of nice sweetness. The beets, some people are really fans of that earthy flavor, but others maybe are trying to get a taste for it and find that beets can be a little bit powerful. So one of the things that we really like to do with beets is roast them. So you can roast them whole if you want. You can either cover them with olive oil, or you can wrap them with tin foil and put them in the oven and roast them. However, I find that it's just as easy to just rinse the beets off and just put the whole thing on a tray in the oven. And they will get done when a knife can easily poke into them, so kind of like when you're making potatoes. and just roast them in like a 350 to 400 degree oven for 20 to 50 minutes depending on the size of the beets. And you can also, we'll have a little recipe at the end just if you're looking for more information on how to roast them. But it's kind of a good way to just tone down that earthiness and help to bring out the sweetness. And if the beets are still a little bit powerful for you, I brought in a different variety. So this is a golden beet, and this, as you can see, is this nice orangish yellow color. And so this variety I grow because they're actually less beet flavored. They're a little bit sweeter and a lot less earthy. So if you're trying to get more beets in your diet, you can try different varieties that have, a little bit different flavor. Otherwise, here at Farm Table, we use beets in a lot of things. We have a lot of salads that will boil beets and cube them up and have add them to a salad, or have a salad that's comprised mostly of beets with a little bit of a light yogurt dressing and some herbs. We also use beets in our beet cake, so that is a good way to maybe sneak the beets into your diet. So that we'll just boil them until they're soft, puree them, and then add them to a cake mix. And while we're here with beets and carrots, so we earlier talked about the parts of the plant that you eat. So, here with the beets, we're obviously eating the root here, and we can also eat the leaves. So Sue, where are the seeds? If I'm trying to seed save my beet, how am I going to get the seeds out of this plant?
Yeah, thanks, Elle. That's a really good question. So both beets and carrots are biennial plants, meaning that they don't produce seed until the second year. So for both beets and carrots, if you want to save seed, what you have to do is keep your nicest carrots and your nicest beets, and you store them like Sal was saying. You can store them in the refrigerator, and then you have to replant them the following year, and they'll send up a seed stalk in the second year, and that's when you get the seed from them. So they're a little more tricky than most things, but it's actually a really fun thing to try.
Cool. And I've had a few carrots actually that I forgot to harvest, and every once in a while, if they're in a good protected spot in the garden, sometimes the next year I'll see this weird little flower head come up and realize that one of my carrots must have survived the winter and is starting to make a flower.
I think that's it for this week. As always, thanks for joining us. And remember to use the comments below the video if you have any questions. And also use the Facebook page. So thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week.